My girlfriend posted, "Real men don't get jealous when their woman has male friends," after I questioned why she was texting another guy at 2 a.m. I commented, "You're absolutely right." Then I updated my profile pic with her best friend. The hypocrisy revealed itself in 47 minutes, and that pretty much sums up how a 2-year relationship between me, Ryan, 26M, and my now ex-girlfriend Lauren unraveled in a way I still replay in my head sometimes. Not because I regret what I did, but because it was the first time I truly saw how much I'd been bending myself to avoid being labeled insecure. Lauren and I had been together a little over 2 years and living together for 8 months in a clean, but slightly overpriced apartment. We split evenly, and on paper everything looked stable. But about 3 weeks before the posting started feeling off in that quiet, insidious way where nothing is wrong enough to confront, but everything feels wrong enough to keep you awake. Lauren had gotten close to a guy from her yoga studio named Mark, and at first I genuinely didn't care because I've always believed adults can have friends of any gender without it being a problem. But then the texting ramped up, not casual stuff but constant notifications. Her phone always face down, stepping into the hallway to take calls, laughing at her screen, and then going dead silent when I walked in. And the first time I really clocked it was when I woke up at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, because her phone was lighting up the bedroom like a flashlight under the covers. I asked, half asleep, who she was texting that late, and she froze for a second before saying it was just Mark, that he was dealing with family stuff overseas and time zones were weird, which didn't make much sense, but I was tired and didn't want to start a fight. And then it happened again a few nights later. Same time, same secrecy. And when I finally brought it up the next morning in what I thought was a calm, adult way, saying it made me uncomfortable and I wanted to talk about it, she went nuclear in about 2 seconds flat, telling me I was insecure, that this was what was wrong with men, that I either trusted her or I didn't, and stormed out before we could resolve anything. I figured we'd cool off and talk later. But instead that afternoon, I opened Instagram and saw the post, black background, white text, "Real men don't get jealous when their woman has male friends. Insecurity is unattractive. Know your worth, ladies." And the comments were full of people we knew, her sister, co-workers, friends, all nodding along and subtly roasting me without naming me. And I sat there staring at my phone, feeling embarrassed and angry and small all at once, because instead of talking to me, she decided to publicly frame me as some controlling jerk. Something snapped in a very quiet way, not rage, more clarity, and I commented, "You're absolutely right. Real partners trust each other completely. I'm sorry for being insecure." And she liked it, probably thinking she'd won. And then I did the thing everyone now knows about, which was changing my profile picture to a crop photo from last summer's group trip that showed me laughing with her best friend Megan. No caption, no context, just two people looking friendly. I didn't even feel smug. I just waited, and 47 minutes later my phone started blowing up with texts from Lauren asking what the hell I was doing, why Megan was my profile picture, accusing me of trying to make her jealous, demanding I take it down. And I replied once calmly that Megan was just a friend, and real partners don't get jealous, right? And the silence after that was loud. She called, which she never did, and told me it wasn't funny, that it was different. And when I asked her how, she couldn't explain it beyond saying Megan was her best friend, and Mark was just a yoga friend. And when I asked why that distinction mattered to friends were friends, she hung up. When she got home that night, the apartment felt like a freezer, and she demanded I take it down because it was disrespectful. And I asked how that was more disrespectful than publicly humiliating me. And she accused me of being manipulative and twisting things. And for the first time, I said out loud that she wanted freedom without accountability, that she wanted to text whoever she wanted at any hour, while expecting me to never do anything that might make her uncomfortable. And she slammed the bedroom door, and I slept on the couch feeling strangely calm. The next morning, I woke up to messages from her sister Emily, her mom Susan, and two friends, all calling me cruel, abusive, sociopathic even. And when I asked if they knew about the post or the late-night texting, none of them wanted to engage. And her mom actually called me, disappointed, saying she thought I was one of the good ones. And when I explained my side, there was a long silence before she said she'd talked to Lauren. The twist I didn't expect was Megan texting me to say she wasn't mad about the picture, and actually thought it was kind of hilarious. And then admitting through tears that Lauren had been texting Mark nonstop for months, showing their conversations at brunch, flirting, making plans without me knowing, calling me boring and too comfortable, saying she was keeping her options open. And when I confronted Lauren with that information, she immediately turned on Megan. calling her a liar, then a jealous traitor, then a homewrecker, and finally tried to reset everything by offering to delete the post if I deleted the picture, and we pretended none of it happened. But when I said that meant she'd stop texting Mark at 2 a.m., she said he was just a friend, and she shouldn't have to give up friendships for me. And that was the moment I knew we were done. She packed a bag and went to her sister's, and for the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. But the chaos didn't stop because she told everyone I kicked her out and was abusive. Her co-workers messaged me. Mutual friends picked sides. And then Mark himself DM'd me telling me I was controlling and insecure, which honestly almost made me laugh. And when I asked if he'd mind me sharing our conversation with his own girlfriend, he disappeared. I found his girlfriend, Hannah, and sent her a simple message telling her what I knew. And she thanked me, saying she had suspicions. And a few days later, his Instagram went private and he stopped going to yoga. Lauren called me screaming that I'd ruined an innocent man's life. And when I said he'd done that himself, she hung up like she always did when challenged. Things escalated to her trying to complain to our landlord, sneaking into the apartment while I was at work, and me changing the locks of my own sanity, which prompted her to send her dad, Dave, who surprised me by admitting she wasn't innocent and saying he hoped we could work things out. And I told him calmly that I didn't think a relationship built on double standards and public shaming was salvageable. The final conversation happened weeks later when Lauren came over and tried one last time, crying, saying she missed us, that she loved me, and when I told her she wasn't sorry for what she did, but for being exposed, that equality in a relationship meant the same rules for both people, she didn't really argue. She just cried and said she thought I'd get over it. And that hurt more than the anger because it meant she'd expected me to swallow it like I always had. She moved her remaining things out while I was at work and left a note that said, "Thanks for nothing." And I stood in the quiet apartment realizing how heavy things had been without me noticing, how much energy I'd spent making myself smaller. So I wouldn't be called jealous or insecure. Now the picture is gone, the relationship is over, and the drama has faded. And what I'm left with is relief mixed with a hard lesson, which is that trust doesn't mean silence, boundaries aren't control, and anyone who asks for freedom without offering it back isn't looking for a partner. They're looking for permission.